up all the teachers, time to teach a new way. Maybe then they'll listen.
Hello, my Facebook and NF Geeks colleagues. This video is going to be a video that is basically a continuation of a thread that we had on the NF Geeks discussion group, which was discussing the role of education and personality and temperament. And of course, I'm in the United States, so this is going to be the view from the United States educational system, which I understand is different from our brothers and sisters who might be in different countries. But in thinking about that, just think about, again, your personality type and how it affected you. And so I'm going to be basically talking about it from the SJ perspective, and then specifically as an ISTJ, because one of the things, one of the issues with being any of the introverted types is that sometimes, even though to me the K through 8 system is designed for SJs, it's designed for us to thrive, and it's designed for us to be successful. Any of the introverted types, regardless of type and temperament, a lot of times, because the United States as a country is a very extroverted nation, you're looked at differently when you're an introvert. And it's assumed that when you're an introvert that you're shy. And that's not necessarily true. An introvert can be a person who's not shy. But the teachers and people, they look at you different when you're that introverted and or quiet type. So I'm going to just talk about the education system in general in terms of what I as an SJ have experienced. So let's start at first, kindergarten through 8th grade. And when we look at kindergarten through 8th grade, again, that is designed for SJs. It is designed for us to be able to succeed. It is a very SJ system. And so when people talk about reforming the education system and changing some things, those of us who are SJs and remember our K through 8 days, we don't see a problem because it worked for us. Now, I had put in my post that for high school seems like the wild, wild west, because high school is when things start to change within the education system here in the United States a little bit. And so it's all going to depend on the teacher, and it also depend more on the class. As SJs in general, we remember facts. And so facts-based classes and classes that require memorization, we're going to do well in. We will generally do well in our government, economics, our history classes, all of which are classes that I taught at the high school level. We do well, we'll more than likely do well, strangely enough, in our lower level math classes. Once you start to replace numbers with letters, sometimes our SJs will struggle there until we start to master the concept and it starts to make sense to us. Now, it was the same way with me. Strangely enough, with me, I did well in geometry, not so well in algebra. I don't know that there's a personality comparison there. It's just the way things worked for me. Science, where SJs are going to tend to do well in what we consider the more concrete sciences. I was great at biology. Absolutely loved biology. Absolutely loved anatomy and physiology. Very sensor-oriented sciences, though. Chemistry, not so much. Worst grade I ever got in high school was in high school chemistry. Absolutely. Pretty good when we went into the lab. We probably didn't have as many labs as I thought we should have. But the class itself was painful. Strangely enough, I did well in physics. And I don't know where that came from, but I did well. So when it comes to high school, again, high school, how well a temperament does is going to depend on the temperament of the high school. Does the high school have more sensors? Does it have more intuitives? And how does that dynamic work out? And then there's college. The advantage in college goes exclusively to intuitives. It is the place in the world where intuitives will generally outnumber sensors. And so there is a flip in terms of how things are projected forward. I know some of you are thinking, those of you that are intuitives are saying, well, it's nice to have a place in the world where we are in the majority. And you're absolutely right. It is nice to have that place where, hey, there are a lot more people like you. However, there are some things that need to be understood from an SJ perspective about college and higher education. And here's the main thing to understand about SJs in particular when it comes to education. I can't tell you how often, even watching videos on YouTube and listening and reading posts on the discussion page, how often I hear people talk about how they just wish that people would embrace education and get involved in education for the sake of education itself and for the growth potential. That's not where we're coming from as SJs. And that's what you have to understand about us. Education for us is a means to an end. So don't get disappointed when you have that person that has a very specific goal and they just want to come to school to get the education necessary in order for them to achieve that goal. And I understand as intuitives, that's hard for you to grasp. But that's where we're coming from. And don't get me wrong, it's not that we don't appreciate or don't like education. It's not that we don't appreciate or don't like school. If our goal is to go to school just for the sake of going to school because we want personal enrichment, then we're going to do that. But what you have to understand is a lot of times, especially for people that are going to school right out of high school, that's not their goal. Their goal is something a little bit further. So you have that SJ student that wants to be a nurse. No, they don't want to come to school for this grand personal enrichment and betterment of themselves. No, they want to come to school because they want to learn the skills that are necessary for them to do the profession that they want to do, which is to be a nurse. And so, when it comes to education, at least here in the United States, one of the best things that has happened is schools now that are specialty schools. For nurses, it's schools like Chamberlain College of Nursing, where a person who wants to be a nurse can go to Chamberlain College or any nursing school and say, okay, I want to be a nurse. And in 3 years, as opposed to 4 or maybe 5 years, that person can be a nurse because it's very focused education. And that is how SJs look at it. We're very focused on our education. That's one thing I can remember about myself, is being very focused on what I want to do. You'll find that SJs very seldom change majors. And if we do, to see us change majors more than once is usually odd. I did change my major once. I went to school and I was majoring in the sciences, and decided that isn't really what I wanted to do, and I switched my major to business and got my undergraduate degree in business. So it's just really important to understand that it's not a lack of love for education. It's just a different look at the purpose of education. All temperaments have their view of education and how important it is. And SJs don't see education as not being important, but we're more focused on the reason behind the education. So we don't like, one of the things that we generally probably don't like about the college system, the way it's set up now, is all the classes that we have to take that have nothing to do with what we want to study. And people say, yeah, but it's helping you to become more well-rounded. Now, I'm going to give you a very SJ answer to a person that says that to me. And we may not say this, but I guarantee you that the majority of SJs, this is what's going through their minds. When a person says, well, you take all these extra classes that have nothing to do with your major, it's going to help you to become more well-rounded, we're thinking that's garbage. I mean, just be honest with you, that's what we're thinking. That's garbage. Because you know what? I'm not going to remember this stuff anyway, and that's exactly what happened. And I guarantee you, you'd speak with more SJs. That's what happened. You took this class that had nothing to do with your major, you took it, you got your grade in it, and you forgot it. It's just not there anymore because it wasn't important to us. Now, do I believe that electives are important? Yes, I think that what should happen is maybe some of those required courses should be replaced with electives so that I can take a class that may not have anything to do with my major, but it's something that I am interested in. Not that the college thinks that I should be interested in. I have a really good friend of mine who is extremely bright. As a matter of fact, remember I said SJs are focused, and his focus was getting his PhD. And he did that by the time he was 26. But I can remember we were in school at the same time, and I remember him this school required that you take a philosophy 101 class. And I remember him going through that philosophy 101 class, and garbage was the exact phrase that he used. It's like, man, this class is garbage. And he got an A in it. He was very good at it. But to talk to him today, and now he's 41 now, and this was like back over 20 years ago. He says, you know what? I don't remember, nor do I appreciate any of the things that I learned in that class. And that's just, I'm not saying that it's right or wrong. I'm just discussing with you where SJs come from when it comes to education. Very, very rarely are we going to be in a general studies curriculum. And not that general studies should go away. General studies is very important, especially for people who don't know what they want to do. It gives them that wide variety of courses that they could take. Not something that most SJs are going to do because, again, we're very focused on what we want to do. Now, let's talk about the teaching process. Again, K through 8, very SJ friendly. High school, it depends. When I got to college, it was different. Now, let me tell you something about my college experience. I enjoyed college. If you had to just pick a point in your life that you had to live over and over and over again, college would be really close. You know, I enjoyed high school too, so I don't know, maybe high school, but I enjoyed college. My issue was with the teaching method of some of my professors. Remember, the majority of professors in college are going to be intuitives. So the thought process is going to be different from that of an SJ. And the feeling that, and I just caution those of you that are intuitives and you teach, the feeling that a lot of times SJs can get is that the intuitive just feels that we are less intelligent because of the questions that we are asking. One of the things in college that I looked at is the syllabus was a contract. This is what you I'm looking at this, and this is what you expect of me. So I know what you expect of me based on the syllabus, but if that syllabus isn't clear enough, I'm going to ask you some questions about where I see holes in the syllabus. And intuitive instructors can get kind of irritated by that. And I can remember having an assignment, and here's the thing about an SJ. When you give an SJ an assignment, the thought process is we have to have step-by-step instructions, and that's not the case. We do have the ability as SJs to think, okay? What we do need to know is what you are expecting as that finished product. And if it isn't clear to us what you're expecting, we're going to ask questions so that you can make it clear. I only one time in my entire college career ever challenged a grade. And it was from an intuitive professor that had a 1.5-page syllabus. So it had very little information in it in terms of the assignment, and very little information on what he wanted the finished product to be. And I asked him several questions. He gave me answers. I gave him what he asked for. And when I did that, he told me that wasn't what he wanted, and I got a C. That's not working for me, because I gave you what you asked for. That's Jay's here. This is what you said you wanted. I gave it to you. Now, no, this C isn't going to work. So I did challenge that grade, and it did end up getting overturned, and I ended up getting a better grade. But understand, again, that's where SJs are coming from. What do you want? You let us know what you want, and we're going to give you what you want. And you say, well, I want broader thinking. Okay, I hear what you're saying in terms of you wanting broader thinking, but understand that when you're saying you want this broader thinking, I want to know, okay, again, what do you mean by that? But what exactly does that mean? So again, understanding where the SJ is coming from with that. Another thing to understand about colleges and SJs is SJs, we are the least likely to use academic advising. I think if I look at undergraduate and graduate school, I may have seen an academic advisor 4 times in that entire career. But why? Because if you give us the blueprint, we're going to simply follow it. So I'm a major in business. I go to the catalog for the school. I go to the business degree that I'm looking at. It tells me what classes I have to take. I don't need academic advising. What I need academic advising for? I know what I need to take. So we're the least likely that is going to get into academic advising because we know what we want to do. Just have to follow the blueprint. Now, so that was my experience in undergraduate school. It was hard getting used to Intuitive's way of teaching. Graduate school was much better though. And what's funny is it wasn't that I had less intuitive professors. I probably had more in grad school than I had in undergrad school, but they gave me the basics that I needed. This is the assignment. This is what I expect as a finished product. And they didn't have to give me they didn't have to tell me exactly, but they gave me a basic idea. Okay, I want a 20 to 25 page paper on the book of Genesis, and you can choose whatever you want within the book of Genesis, but it has to be on the book of Genesis. More than enough information. Then I say, okay, I want to write about creation, Genesis chapter 1 and 2. I get approval. Now I can write whatever I want on creation. I just know that it's going to be on creation. It's coming out of the book of Genesis, and it has to be 20 to 25 pages. I'm great. I can do that. That's not too ambiguous for me. And so I really, really enjoyed grad school. And I'm still enjoying grad school because I have my master's degree, and I've decided I'm going to be crazy and go further. Oh, what was I thinking? And pastor at the same time. But it's just important to understand that the difficulty that SJs run into in higher education is that it is totally different from what they received in the first 8, maybe first 12 years of their education. But the bottom line is, with an SJ, if you are a teacher, a professor, an instructor, an SJ, if they are in your class, is going to give you exactly what you ask for. And their thought process is that if they give you that, that's the A. If they give you exactly what you asked for, that's the A, because it's what you asked for. The A isn't going above and beyond. It's giving you what you asked for. And they're going to do that in any class. Now, where will they go above and beyond? They're going to go above and beyond in the classes that we enjoy. So if it's a class that we really like, yeah, we're going to do extra. But our thought process is if we give you exactly what you asked for, how you asked for it, that's the A. So just to understand that. So that's it. Just talking a little bit about the SJ and education. Hope that I can get additional comments on this.